Good morning from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm. It's 11:59 a.m. on Friday, the 9th of January 2025. Shabbat Shalom this evening for those of you who observe the Sabbath. Observe and practice and keep your cultural conditioning and motifs well alive. So it's a glorious morning. I got up a bit late, but I had a lot of stress in the middle of the night from 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. wrangling with Avast to get a refund for a product I haven't used in 2 years. So that was exhausting and distressing. At one point my heart started palpitating so fast I thought I was going to have a heart attack. But anyway, their customer rep, and I had to make an international phone call, so I hate to think how much that cost me, probably more than what the actual billing was. But anyway, after wrangling for a while with their rep, I was on the phone with him for 16 minutes. He did indeed refund the money, so that got resolved. But, you know, all the stress and in the middle of the night, it's insane making people of Earth. Anywho, so as a consequence, I didn't go to bed till about 3:30, and I got up at 9:30, and I'm a bit slow getting myself up and running today because stress and not enough sleep will do that to a woman. Anyway, that's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. But I'm glad I got that money back because it was, $75. And then he wanted to upsell me to put that onto some other device. I said, why? I haven't used it in 2 years. I cancelled the subscription a year ago and you're still trying to scam me for money every year for a product you can plainly see on your end I haven't even utilised. Why would I pay for something I'm not using? So, a bit rude, isn't it? So anyway, it wasn't a complete scam and that money was illegally taken from my account. They just hadn't cancelled it a year ago when I asked them to. So in a way it is a scam, isn't it? Anyway, the man was very kind. He could hear. I said, look, it's 2 o'clock in the morning here in Australia. I've had to make an international phone call. So he wanted me to hang up and ring back. I said, I'm not doing that. It's already costing me a fortune to negotiate with you for something your company's done to me, not the other way around. It's just rude. Anyway, I'm still upset about it, just while I'm still going on about it. Even though I got refunded the money, it's an inordinate amount of stress, and they put me through the same stress a year ago trying to bill me for something I hadn't yet been using. So it puts me off ever buying internet protection through the internet ever again because they're mercenary and you can't get through. They make it so almost difficult to get through on the website, so confusing. I said, what you're doing is you're taking advantage of older people, keeping us confused. The website's so hard to navigate, and then I've had to phone you personally to talk to an actual human to try and get something resolved here at my great expense that I can ill afford because I'm a pensioner. I'm so sorry. So he really was a nice man, but, it's not his fault. He works for a mercenary fucking ruthless internet company. When it got to the stage where he kept almost in a high-pitched voice trying to upsell me to keep the product, I was like, why would I do that? I haven't used the product, the protection, in 2 years. Why would I suddenly, when I'm asking for a refund, want to use the product? They just stick to some script like automatonic zombies. They can't think outside the square. Well, what is it you're actually wanting? I said, I made that clear from the beginning. I want my money back. Money I did not authorise to you because I cancelled the subscription a year ago. Oh, okay, I can arrange that. Oh, dear goddess. Anyway, rant over. Mama T rants can be a bit epic, but it's just been a lot. It's been a lot of stressors. So, let me just take a breath. It's a beautiful day out in the garden, a bit hot, but you know, summer in Brisbane, you've got to expect that. And yes, so I took action on another thing that had been causing me a lot of stress and distress for quite some time last night. So last night was a night for Mama T going to war and settling things, sorting things out. And, you know, I feel released and relieved because I won't keep conduits open to toxicity in my life. I just won't. Bing, bam, boom, baby. Right, now, and I did keep a conduit open for a very long time, but that was an act of naivete, sweetness and love on my part. And when love and respect is no longer served, people of Earth, you've got to know when to walk away. So here we go. Let us continue reading. Who's fucking mowing now? The neighbours. Didn't they just mow the other day when we were out here? I feel like they just mowed only a couple of days ago. Oh well, he wants his garden pristine. My lawn got mowed yesterday and I'm very grateful and happy about that. That was a huge stressor for me too. It's like being attacked like a fucking COVID virus with little spikes at every angle trying to whittle me down, grind me down to absolute evisceration. I simply won't do it. I won't. It's enough now. Drawing the line in the sand. But here we go, babies. Let's carry on reading the Bodicea. Chapter. Whoop! We fell sideways. Why did that happen? Don't know. Chapter 29. In daylight, with the sun slanting from the west, Kuno Ballin's grave mound was a peaceful place. Should take myself off to the South Brisbane Cemetery and have another walk around there. It's about the only place you can get any fucking pieces amongst the dead. Ironic, isn't it? Oh well. Briaka stood inside, facing the back wall with her knife in her hand. Experimentally, she stabbed the dry earth and then again a hand span to the right. Go more to the left. The opening was aligned for the sun's angle on the day of my death. She knew him by his voice. Not the texture of it, dry as the dead earth, but the round curves of the vows that had been Caradocs after him, and she heard still daily in Sigfa, who was most like her father, and so most closely mirrored her grandfather. Bit better, I can see you now. Well, I can't really see you. I can only see my reflection, but I can see what's going on now is what I mean. literally. I can see what's going on now. It was a bit Freudian, wasn't it? I can see clearly now. The rain has gone. Right. She turned slowly. Had it not been daylight, she might not have seen him. He was not as distinct as her father had been, and far less than the newly dead of the burning city, bright with the shock of their slaughter. Cunobeline, hound of the sun, war leader of 2 tribes, was a twist in the evening light, no more substantial than that. As she had done in the night, Briarka patched him with Granny's eyes and Siegfried's hair, that he might seem more readily human. He smiled for her then, and she saw that more easily than the rest. His smile had always been the warmest part of him. She set her knife on the floor. I thought the westerly sun might warm you more than the chill light of dawn, she said. If you would rather I not disturb your mound, I'll leave it now. Why did you come again? Like all the ancient dead, his voice was the rustle of wind and winter leaves. I saw the sun slide off the bronze doors, and it reminded me of what Luann McCalmer did for you on the day we first brought you here. McCalmer did it better. Yes. The engineer who built the temple to honour Claudius knew how to celebrate the full light of the noon sun, but Luann McCalmer built this mound so that the sun honoured you in its setting as well as its rising. What a beautiful honour that is indeed. What does the Anzac prayer say? At the going down of the sun and at the rising of the sun, we remember them. Then they forgot conveniently when the COVID years began. Cowards, traitors and dogs. All those men that died in the Anzacs against tyranny and Nazism and fascism and even communism. Died for fucking nothing, people of Earth. It's unforgivable. Unfucking forgivable, but here we are, reading stories in my sacred space garden in manic denial, because it's the only way to survive, get through this nightmare that I can't seem to shuck off completely. Briarka lifted her knife and pricked the tip along the wall to the left and found the rectangle, as long as her arm and half as wide, where the earth was packed less hard. She began to dig there, using the back edge of the blade. The birds are chewing on yummy things too. All simultaneously chewing, it's quite sweet. Well, Kermie, what do you say? He says, well, Mama, I'm glad to be out in the garden. Took your sweet time about it, but we're here now. Okay, Kermie. Clots of earth fell out over her, Brushing them away, she said, I met Caradog here on the 3rd day of your funeral. We fought. He had just fathered Sigfa by another woman, and I had not known these things mattered then. I was going to put your ring on the bier as my honouring of you. He stopped me, saying that you would not want that gift returned. I have a memory on returning gifts. I don't usually return gifts. You know, it's actually very, very insulting to do such a thing. It's one of the deepest wounding insults you can do to a person is demand your gifts back or return them to the gifter. It's a sacred trust when you gift someone something, and it's tainted when it's dishonoured or not valued or appreciated or alternatively demanded back. Very trashy, uncouth thing to do, by the way, demanding gifts back. I never do that. You give or you give not. But once you put that energy out there, you release it out into the world, and what the person that receives it does with that gift, that's on them. I had a friend that used to gloat about how she threw out all the beautiful flowers that were given to her, and I thought, those flowers died for no good reason but your own fucking selfishness and narcissism and contempt. I used to look at her and think, that's your dark shadow that I don't like witnessing. She showed her true colours in the end, even with me, and I thought, there you are. You can tell by people's crass, uncouth behaviours the true calibre of their soul. They can hide it for a while, but eventually it all just kind of seeps out like pus, people of Earth. But anyway, no, the memory I had of the time I gave a gift back, and rightfully so in those circumstances, was I had this homeopath lover called David Davidson that still haunts me, butts in on my YouTube channel from time to time, like the ghost in Mrs. Muir. Seems to be unable to completely separate from me even after, it's almost 10 years now. He died in May 2016. He doesn't come round so often, so hopefully whatever life lessons he didn't receive in life he's received now, and he's evolving and he's moved on. One can only hope. But anyway, he was particularly vicious to me in that time frame when we were involved sexually, casually, not on a regular basis, but when we had that deep, passionate connection, soul connection in a way. Yes, it was kind of a soul connection. It's probably why he haunts me still. He can't let go of the fact that he really, really damaged me and my children by colluding with my enemies and putting me down and other vicious things he did. which we won't go into for the purpose of this discussion, but they were actually criminal offences, and he was really profoundly evil. Anyway, during the course of our friendship or connectivity, kind of winding down towards the tail end of it actually, which I found interesting, because he had another woman, he married her in the end. Fuck, she was a piece of work. Trash beyond. I still want to vomit when I think about what those two people put me through, but never mind. It's a long time ago now. We're talking, what year is it now? 2026? 27, 28 years ago. But anyway, I can't even remember the circumstances, how it happened, but he gave me, and it was quite a lovely little ring, a little sterling silver ring with a peace sign made in the special green stone that comes from Israel. It had obviously been something he'd had since he was young and something he kind of cherished. And he one night I was over there visiting him, because at that time we still had some kind of tenuous friendship, and he gave me this ring. I loved him so much, like a young girl. It felt like, and I realised I had to rein it in because it wasn't an engagement ring, but it felt as precious as if he'd given me a precious engagement ring. And I just looked at him and said, "What's this?" He said, I want you to have it." And I know, because he was a homeopath and he understood about energy, and it was the peace sign, and I was under constant vicious attack from the other former Israeli lover and his sister and his boarders and all their flying monkeys. Oh, they were savage. I think he was trying to gift it to me as a form of protection, or to remind me to remain in a state of shalom, peace, which was untenable at that time frame I was living through. I didn't need peace, I needed protection. I needed the police to slap them with domestic violence charges and back me and my children, which they did not do, left us for dead. I needed kindness. I needed a real love that stood beside me like a real man and said, "No, this stops now and I'm going to protect you." And ultimately it didn't come from David Davidson, but a random stranger knocking on my door at 11 o'clock at night after a year and a half of the constant battling, listening to me and my young prepubescent daughters being threatened with rape and mutilation. A stranger, a man nearly 7 foot tall, came to my door, a bikie. He said, "I can't take it anymore. I'll kill him for you." I said, "Well, you can't go around killing people." I said, "End up rotting in jail for what? Ruin your life for those dirty motherfuckers. It's simply not even worth it." I regret that now. Should have let him kill them. I should have enabled it. But I'm a decent woman, believe it or not, in spite of my weird ways and coping mechanisms and the evil that surrounded me. It's got harder and harder as the years have gone by to maintain that goodness and basic couth and decency. Anywho, I digress. So he'd given me this lovely ring, and my heart bloomed, and I put it on, and I said, "Thank you, David, that's very kind of you." Anyway, I went home and my daughters looked at it. I said, "What's that?" I said, "Oh, David gave me a ring." "Oh, what for?" I said, "Oh, it's nothing romantic, it's just a friendship ring, They looked at me a bit funny. And I think it was when they kind of looked at me funny that the penny kind of dropped. I thought, yeah, why am I being manipulated with trinkets from a man who doesn't have the courage to protect and defend us, and mocks and derides me, with his friends and other ignominy. Why am I accepting gifts from this feted fucking animal, actually? What is it actually that I love? What was there actually to love? So I had a good hard think about it. But, I wore the ring for about a week, and I thought, well, I guess it's a mark of honour and respect, him showing, perhaps that he's sorry for some of the things he's done, and sorry that things couldn't have worked out between us, because, quite frankly, he wasn't prepared to put in the work and the effort to keep me and my daughters safe and treat us with basic respect. And I had asked for that. So it's another repeat pattern, asking males for safety and respect and not getting it ultimately. Then people wonder why I get enraged about how I've been played for a fool and used and abused time and time again in varying different scenarios. Maybe not as badly as happened 27 years ago, but it's the same fucking flavour. And when you've been made to eat shit for as long as I have, you know the taste of shit when it starts percolating in your mouth, people of Earth. So let shits go. Let it all wash away. Anyway, so we had I had this ring from him, and in the evening when the children were in bed, I'd sit and I'd look at it and think, what does this even mean, really? What is it that he's trying to manipulate and keep me locked into this love connection with him, when I know he's screwing at least 4 or 5 other women, including the woman he ultimately married? And it was an ugliness, because I'm not a polyamorist, and I'm actually when I'm not being asexual celibate like I have been for this time, going on for 11 years, I'm actually very, very monogamous and very loyal and loving to the man I'm in love with, whoever it is at that time period. And that loyalty almost kills me every time, because I'll stand by them till it becomes so sadistic and savage and venal and cruel that, I have no choice but to walk away, as has happened recently. Although I walked away from that bullshit when that person thought it was funny to humiliate me at a public gig. So, I've resolved it now. I've let it all go. So, back to David Davidson. So in the course of that week or so, we didn't talk every day, sometimes once a week, sometimes months would go by. But in the course of that week, he used to ring me up when he was drunk, demanding sex, which is kind of insane given he didn't have anything heartfelt or genuine toward me, really. It's probably one of the most insane but potent love connections I ever had in my life. And it's probably why he still haunts me too, because so much energy was expended on him. Anyway, I did love you, Tanya. Shut up, Davidson. I'm talking about you, not to you. Can hear him chiming in with his 6 cents worth. You're in the light, and I'm talking about what you did when you were alive. I realise you may have evolved since then. It's been almost 10 years, 9 years and 8 months. But right now, don't interrupt my story. Okay, he says. Okay. So anyway, what happened when he passed over is he would have had his life review. And all that energy and love that I had poured into him and his little sons and some of his friends he would have had the full knowledge of all my intentions, which at all times were honourable, believe it or not. And that's why he's haunting me, because he thinks he's got to fix the damage he did, but you can't fix it. It's impossible. Maybe when I cross over it will be healed then, but maybe not. Maybe we'll be doing this reincarnation and evil dance again. I hope not. I hope not, Davidson. Anyway, so somehow a week later, he rings me up drunk, or it was something like that, and he starts going on about, the woman he's marrying, and hadn't announced to me yet that he was going to marry her, but he's playing us one off against the other. And I won't play games with any psychopath. The only way to win a game is not to play. Yeah. So, I hung up on him and I'm crying. He made me cry rivers, that man. He really was savage and sadistic and inchoate and cruel and fucking piss weak and lackluster. I don't know what I saw in him. Really don't. Anyway, so I'd worn this ring and looked at it with such love and intensity every night for a week. And a week goes by. Anyway, I had this phone call with him and I was crying again. And my kids happened to be with me that weekend because it was my access weekend. So I remember this vividly as it played out. It was almost like a past life thing being replayed, like a repeat on a TV screen. It felt so surreal and emotionally enhanced and activated and expanded, like it was. I thought, yes, I've lived this scenario with this soul before at some time. So I'm just going to have to be very calm and brave and not take shit from another lying, deceiving, wicked, ruthless fucking asshole. So I said, right kids, we're going off to Cooperoo. We lived at my mother's home that she allegedly bought for me, but that was a lie too, and another abuse dynamic. Being threatened there too by her fucking new boyfriend and his henchmen. Anyway, my psychiatrist says I'm Baudelaire, and I really am. Even retelling this story, I have to cough and choke and reframe it, but the truth remains the truth. So I pile my kids, my two daughters in the car, in my little car. I had a little Mazda 121 shades hatchback. And we drive to Davidson's apartment, not far from where I live now actually. It's on Kirkland Street in Cooperoo. We drive there and it's evening, like 7 o'clock. And I'm seething with such a rage, not for the first time, over this man because of his twisted games and savagery. So I said to the girls, said, why are we driving to Davidson's house? I said, we're going to return the ring. And they said, but Mummy, you always taught us to never return a present that someone gives you, and if you don't want it, to pay it forward to someone else who does value and appreciate it, and not to insult a gift. I said, yes, normally that is my ethos, but this is a fish of a different colour. "Oh, what do you mean, Mummy?" I said, "Oh, you can't possibly understand because you're children, but one day when you grow up, you'll understand if, God forbid, you're put through the same evil scenario." I said, "One does not accept gifts from people who are cruel. You know, once you identify that they've been nothing but cruel to you, you don't keep that connection. You release the energy and let it go." "Oh, okay, Mummy, okay." So we drive there, and he's got all his lights blazing. He had a little tiny apartment, 1-bedroom apartment. And he would have seen my car because I had to drive past his little apartment, and his little boys happened to be there too. Must have been his access with his sons that weekend as well. Anyway, I had written a little note about, I'm returning the ring and this is why. But I kind of, admittedly, it was a bit of a cowardly thing. I didn't go to the door myself. I sent Crystal with the little note and the little ring, which, to be fair, looking back, was not fair to put my children through that emotional not abuse, but kind of torment. But I thought, I just want to get this man's energy off me and out of my life, and I just want to be done with it because it's toxic and evil and awful. So I said, "Crystal, here's the ring in this little packet and with a little note. I go and knock on the door, and when he comes out, just say, 'This is from Mummy,' and then come straight to the car and we'll go." And she said, "Oh, okay, Mummy." So she took it and she went to the door, and his eldest son, Shammai, who was a sweet little boy, comes to the door, and he sees Crystal, who was a sweet little girl and is similar in age, and his eyes just lit up because she's very pretty, Crystal. And his eyes went wide as saucers. He thought, "This is strange. Why have they come in the evening unexpectedly?" So Crystal says to little Shammai, "Mummy wants to give this to your dad. Can you go and get him?" And he calls out, "Dad!" And then I just yell out, "Crystal, come back in the car now," because we'd handed it off, right? She goes, "Okay, Mummy, okay." So she comes, she gets back in the car, and I'm shaking from head to toe with absolute trauma and distress, and releasing energy connected to that man, crying, starting to cry. And I see Davidson, because I'd parked a bit further back in the apartment car park. I see Davidson come to the door and look out and look for me, like really leaning right out the doorway looking for me, like in shock. He never thought that I would return the ring. Thought I would just take his shit till the day I died. No. When the mamati says no, the mamati means no. Having said that, I still kept some kind of connection going to him. But it felt important to return that ring, not to accept the gift of a man that was getting engaged or whatever other bullshit he'd thrown in my face at that time period. So I still remember driving the tears starting to come but holding them back, and him leaning right out his front door looking at me, you know, like kind of in shock, but, you know, a control freak. And my daughter Jasmine, my younger one, was sitting in the passenger seat beside me. And she just looked at me and she said, in this really flat voice, because she'd had enough of all that too, what I was put through. They suffered a lot, my kids, because we were put through a lot. She just turned at me, and with this voice that was flat and almost sounded like an old man. Sometimes I wonder if it was actually my father-in-law, Harry, had jumped into her momentarily to just ground me. She sounded really old and wise way beyond her age. She looked at me and she said, "Now, Mummy, when you drive past him, do not cry and do not look at him." And I looked at her and I nodded. "Yes, Jasmine, I think the same thing too." "Good," she said. "Give him no attention at all." How old was she at the time? 12, 13. I said, "Yes, Jasmine, you're very wise." So we drove past, all his lights are blaring, and beautiful, Israeli music playing, which he used to play beautiful music. That was one of his charms. And he's standing in the doorway outside his door, just looking at me. And I just kept my face straight ahead, drove as if he was a ghost. Because that's how you treat people that treat you badly. They just become a zombie or a ghost. You don't acknowledge them, you don't look at them, you don't speak to them ever again. It is as if you're free in another paradigm and they are in their little dimensionality and they will never bump worlds with you ever again. That was my intention anyway. Certainly wasn't going to bump fucking genitals with him ever again. He just yelled out, "Oh, you know how much I miss that." Shut up, Davidson. He really was a bit of a satyr, as his best friend Emmanuel Meshes used to refer to him. He really was a walking, fucking engorged penis with no real heart or soul, just opportunistic and selfish and greedy and corrupt and rotten and evil. So, where was I going with that? Why I wanted to tell you about that. Yes, that was the one time in my life I gave a present back, because the present was not really a present, but it was a form of spiritual control and trying to hold me and hold on to my love like the most precious gift he'd ever received in his life, but he didn't value it, did he? So I wasn't going to keep that. What's the word I'm trying to strive for here? I wasn't going to keep that conduit open and just let it go. So, interestingly, the harder I tried to let go, the more he tried to hold on to me. And when he died, I didn't know he died because I hadn't had contact with him. Had to go no contact in Grey Rock for 16 years. When he died, he came and banged and knocked on my door and even scared my dog. So as I wrote in a comment on on me and Bialik's podcast breakdown, I think she calls it, what a wonderful name for a podcast, I wrote a beautiful comment about him actually, and about how he haunted me, and that I have an uneasy peace. Now, I'll never trust that entity ever again because of the evil he put me through when he was alive. But when trust is broken completely, and you realise that there are other people being manipulated and used to weaponise and hurt you, you have no choice but to cut all contact and go grey rock and deny all access to you spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, and of course, goes without saying, sexually. And life goes on, and I'm still striving to find my tribe who genuinely love me and protect me and care for me, and one day find my true lover man who will be strong and courageous and honouring and will stand with me no matter what, no matter who, will prioritise me and will be loyal and faithful to me. And if that person never comes in this lifetime, I guess that's my karma. Just have to accept it and get stronger and more powerful in my core and continue to live life alone, which really, in real terms, I've been alone. Even when I was married to my first husband, I was very much alone because he was emotionally and mentally abusive, and I was surrounded by enemies even in the marriage, with my own mother and half-sisters and his sister and brother-in-law and the other brother-in-law and his wife. Oh, the viciousness, it just went round and round and round in circles, and I was always in some kind of ground zero, in some kind of fucking maelstrom, which eventually I sloughed all that ugliness off when I got my divorce. But that wasn't easy either, because I got strangled, and then I got strangled again, and then I got strangled a third time, and the third strangler was actually Davidson. After that, I realised human men and I are never ever meant to be in close, intimate relationships. It's life-threatening, it's dangerous. It always starts off with such promise and sweetness and romance and idealisation, and it always ends up with me left for dead, almost literally murdered, by the way. And I had hoped that that curse or dynamic had shifted a few years ago, when the last friend was being so sweet and romantic and attentive and loving, but no, another lie, another deception, another curse. So the Tanya, the mama too, psychedelic dreamer, Miss 5, is moving on. Right, on that note, let's get back to reading Bodicea. Little Bo's standing in his box playing with his toys. It's delightful. It's taken them about 2 months to get in there and play with their little toys. They were a bit intimidated by it in the beginning, but now they're really loving it and playful and ripping everything apart and being real little birds. And they're so happy. When you have all the things you need in life, a big enough cage to spread your wings in, toys to play with and distract yourself with, like me with my silversmithing and my other hobbies, and you have good healthy food to eat and fresh air and people who really love you and enough money that you don't have to struggle so damned hard, and better health. These are all building blocks for success, people of Earth, and happiness. And I fought long and hard for my happiness. It comes and goes depending on what other vicious attacks have been launched against me, but most of the time I strive to be happy and contented and grateful. So Kermie's in the box now. Look at you, Kermie. Are you playing? Are you playing in the toy box? Oh, you're so sweet. I showed them a video. I was playing a video where Charlie was on my shoulder, twittering away. I said, "That's Charlie. You get really tame, you can sit on my shoulder too and have freedom in the house." They just looked at me like this in astonishment. Charlie really was a magical little bird. Right, now we segued at, he stopped me saying that you would not want that gift returned. As with so many things, my third son knew me best. It is to my eternal regret that I did not care for him better. It's in italics and it's the voice of the spirit, the father-in-law that's speaking to her. He would have been a different man if you had, and perhaps not as great. A certain degree of suffering does breed greatness, people of Earth. Ask me how I know. By all the gods. Mr. Crow's having a swim and he's loving it. He's such a happy boy. Is that good, Mr. Crow? You're a lucky crow coming to the Sacred Space Garden with your mad mama too. All alone here. Only two humans I can trust to be kind to me. The rest have all gone. All gone, all been sloughed off. Necessary. Necessary, people of Earth. The truth of that sat newly between them. Briaka hacked with greater energy at the walls. He won't let you go. Who's he? And stop putting stupid ideas in my mind. I'll tell you who won't let me go though. My psychiatrist fights for me daily. He's a beautiful soul and a wonderful man. Probably one of the few wonderful men I've ever had in my life. Platonic, because he's my psychiatrist, but there have been the most astonishingly wonderful earth angels in my life, so it's not all bad, people of Earth. It's just they were rare and precious and shone bright like diamonds because there was so much filth and viciousness and life-threatening behaviours and ugliness. So very much. And treachery. Let us not forget the treachery. You can't really expect loyalty from people, though, who don't even stand in their own honour and their own integrity. You're not going to get anything good from people like that. Seriously. But my doctor said to me in our debrief on Wednesday, he said, Tanya, you have so much integrity and truth and honour, and it's a hill you're prepared to die on. And I said, damn straight it is. Might not make me any friends or influence people, but the kinds of people that turn on you thinking you're vulnerable, you know, with recent events in Bondi Beach that are triggering and distressing, and turn on you because you're a Jew or a woman on your own, they're not your people. It's quite simple. So, and it's kind of ironic and beautiful and sweet that it's the Muslim community that, as my caseworkers, look after me, and Rati, who comes as a devout Muslim, is so sweet and kind to me, and the lawnmower man, again, so sweet and kind to me. Me, this old Jewish witch who no human man was capable of partnering with, being a loyal, loving husband or lover too. It's astonishing, isn't it? Why is that? Why was I born to have this life and the viciousness? So I want to cry because, yes, my psychiatrist stands by me and loves me no matter what, in a therapeutic, respectful way, don't get me wrong. And I don't think, without him being in my life the last 15 years, I don't think I would have survived this long, actually. That's how much evil was done to me. Anyway, we carry on with the story, people of Earth. The truth of that sat newly between them. Briaka hacked with greater energy at the walls. Davidson's just flowed symbolic, the equivalent of a hug to me, and tells me it's all going to be okay, Tanya. Kind, isn't it? After what he put me through when he was alive. Now he chooses to be kind. It'll be okay, Davidson, when I'm dead. He nods. I concur, he said. That time is not yet upon you. Hold the line. Keep the faith. Keep that powerful love alive in you. Thank you, Davidson. Remembering Caradoc, I remembered also the last time I saw you in life. You called me daughter and made an oath. Now I've got sunscreen bloody swimming into my eyes. Dear Goddess. She gave more power to the words, sending them to echo off the curving walls. The gods have not seen fit to grant me a daughter. Now perhaps I have the beginnings of one. If you need help in the name of the Sunhound, it will be given even to the ends of the earth and and the four winds. That's how much my father-in-law loved me too as a young girl. He really did. Harry Aarons. Herschel Aronchik. Zvi Hirsch Ben Aron. I send you kisses and much love beyond time and space, wherever you are now. He tried to gift me a beautiful life, but I don't think he understood how rotten his son would turn out to be. Maybe he did. Maybe that's why he tried to make sure I had financial stability to compensate for the shit I was going to have to deal with. Well, that was then, this is now. "41 years later, 31 years as a single woman struggling on my own, 10 of those years with my young children surrounded by monsters." That's why when COVID came, I went, you're not going to fuck me over again. No more, no how, no where, no time. Kumi wrecked that whole seagrass mat. It's all wrecked now. I'll have to try and buy another one. I'll have to chew that up, I guess. Oh well, you know, it's given to him to play with and keep him entertained, so I'm just disappointed that he's decided to chew it all up. A little one. I caught the little bow chewing on it too. Just gonna have to wash my eyes, the sunscreen's killing me. I don't normally wear sunscreen. I've put it on for the last 2 days out of some weird notion that it might protect me from sun cancers, but the damage is already done, people of Earth. Long, long ago when I was a child, being left to burn on Elwood Beach in Melbourne and then getting beaten for getting 3rd-degree burns. Oh, she was a bastard. But she was my bastard, so there is that. Right, where were we? Sorry, I'm like up and down like a hurdy-gurdy, right? Well, they've all had a ride, but now they've been shucked off. All of them, all of them, all of them. Even some of the people that I really loved and that were really kind, because I thought they're a conduit. They all communicate with each other and they all run rubbish back. Only one I kept because she really loves me and it would break her for me to cut ties to her. Quite frankly, she's a bit obsessed at times, but she's the only one that I kept on my list of that entire group. Right. Even to the ends of the earth, and the four winds. Two voices spoke the binding of the oath. The dead man's was the stronger. Ironic, Davidson just yelled out. You're not bound to me, Davidson. I released you. Upon your death you were released. Why are you hanging around anyway? It's just nonsensical, isn't it? Is it binding beyond the grave? She asked. Always, as you will find in your turn. Humour warmed his voice, and something deeper that might have been regret. What would you ask of one who is bound to give aid? Because I'm a Brahmin. Well, you didn't behave like a Brahmin when you were alive. Behaved like a feted fucking satyr and an animal. Yes, I did, he says. At least he's honest now that he's dead. It's amazing what death can do for you. Bring out honesty. Always, as you will find in your turn. Humour warmed his voice, and something deeper that might have been regret. What would you ask of one who is bound to give aid? Would you have healing from a dead man you did not trust in life? Synchronicities here, isn't it? It's a bit astonishing, the Jungian synchronicities. Would you trust in my care for you, daughter of my spirit? Trust, loyalty, faith in other human beings. It's fucking hard to get back, isn't it, once it's broken? Even after death, you can't trust them ever again. Sad but true. But I did try. I worked hard at rebuilding my heart space and pouring love into people and being kind and being compassionate, being patient with their foibles. But as I said to my psychiatrist, I'm not Jesus Christ hanging on a cross. I'm not going to be constantly martyred over and over again for other people's fetid ugliness. Fuck off. Davidson's clapping his hands in applause. That's because he knows how that played out when our friendship finally came to an end. Fuck with me once, fuck with me twice, fuck with me 3 times, sometimes a dozen or more times, because I can be very forgiving and patient. But when I'm done, I'm done. Look at you little birdie boys, you're eating sunflower seeds out of the bottom of your toy box. My goodness, they've been there for ages. They'd be probably a bit stale by now, wouldn't they? Or maybe not, because they're still inside their shells. Right. Would you trust in my care for you, daughter of my spirit? It's beautiful, isn't it? Her father-in-law. The quality of his voice reached her where his smile and his presence had not. Truthfully, she said, you are grandsire to my children. If you were to offer me healing, I would welcome it and trust its giving. The earthen wall was crumbling faster under her knife. She stabbed through living turf to the clear air beyond. A strand of evening sunlight threaded in through the gap and cast amber light on the floor at the sun-hound's feet. He became easier to see, a strong man with a pelt of tawny hair and the cloud-grey eyes she had loved in his son. He regarded her thoughtfully, no longer smiling. In all your rememberings, do you recall the prophecy of the ancestor dreamer? Caution pricked up the length of her spine. She remembered then to whom she was speaking, the man who could outmatch any other at the game of warrior's dance, and who never stopped playing. She turned and laid down the knife for a second time. For the first time, she gave him her undivided attention. It would be a hard thing to forget, she said. I brought my children east on the strength of it, knowing I might lose them. My daughter has gone west unhealed because of it. My son moulds his life around it, striving to be something he does not understand. Look at this. It's so cute.
What you doing, bud? Are you coming to watch Mama T read stories? Do you like it when Mama reads stories? I think you do. Happy little Bo. My handsome, happy little Bobo baby.
Oh, isn't it gorgeous? See? Life is beautiful. He's yawning now. He's like, oh, you're a bit sleepy. Do you want a spritz? I'll give you a spritz. Do you want spritzers? Let's see. No, wrong way. Wrong way, wrong way, wrong way. I want it to spray, not be a jet. Right. Yes, all right. I'm just giving you a spritz. Sorry, Kenny. You'll be better now. You'll feel better. Mama feels better too. I love water. I absolutely love water. I miss the sea. I might go later and drive down to the sea. I miss it. If I want to heal myself, I have to do it in the sea. It's always been that way, even since I was a baby, really. The twist in the sun sharpened. The air at its margins became less blurred. You were given 3 tasks to complete, he said. Name them for me. The soft edges of the vows were as iron. It was not hard to take herself back along the path of her life, to find again the cave in the mountains and the taunting presence of the ancestor dreamer. Only something Briarka would not have chosen to do. From clear memory, she said, for the first task, I was to find a way to give back to the people the heart and courage they had lost. I've been living that trope with the COVID regime too, for which I am, reviled and hated, but that's on them, those who have ceded their souls and their humanity. For the second, I was to find a way to call forth the warriors and arm them, to find the warrior with the eyes and heart of a dreamer to lead them. At the last, I was to find the mark that is ours, the ancestors and mine, and seek its place in my soul. She was breathing fast when she finished, as if they had matched swords in challenge. In her own defence, she said, the Iceni have been given heart to rise and revolt. Indeed, some of us still carry that courage. The war host is gathered and armed. The mark of the ancestor dreamer has been revealed as Brega's. If it rests in my soul, it is up to the God to show it. I have done what I can. No, you have not. Who is the warrior with the eyes and heart of a dreamer who can lead your people and give them back the heart and courage they have lost? His eyes burned her, studs of molten flint that pierced her soul. She had no answer for that. Think! He was leaving. The threat and promise of his presence became less tangible. What was left of him came closer, so that she could feel the place where the air moved around him. Find the answer, and it is all answers. Think. He laid a head on her head, and she was cold and hot together. A depth of care swept her so profound as to leave her shuddering, and a passion for life that she had known once and forgotten. Kuno Bellin said, "It has given me great pleasure to see you again, daughter of my soul. If you feel so moved, it would be good to have the window open to let Luann McCalmer's dream live again." His parting voice fell about her lightly, like autumn rain. In the asking is the healing, and the answer. Remember too my other gift. Neither was it given lightly. Feet brushed on grass. A cloak whispered, not Theophilus's robes. A living voice said, "Briarka, do you want to be alone?" Ermid paused at the open grave mouth, a little back, so that she had to shield her eyes from the low-set western sun. Her gaze took in the new light cast on the floor and the clods of hacked earth heaped at the back wall. and the unsheathed knife laid on top. "You've cut a window in the back wall," she said. Briaka said, "It was here before, when the mound was first built. Luann McCalma made it so that the light came in from the west to fall on the urn that held Kuno Ballin's ashes. He bathed the dead with 2 sons. I'd forgotten." Emma hesitated, as if she might leave. "Did you come to find peace, or to talk with the dead?" "Both. Come in." Emma smelled of river water and Theophilus' rosemary oil, more than flesh smoke, and the blood and terror and pain of the healing fields. She did not bring much of war to disturb the quiet of the grave. She came to sit opposite in the darkest shadows. Tentatively she said, "The battle for the temple is almost over. I saw what you did to free Elena's mother. It was an honourable thing." Briaka frowned. "The woman with the rust-coloured hair? I'd forgotten her. I didn't do it for the honour. She was a mother who had lost her daughter. In all the killing, there was no need to make more pain." I've lost both my daughters. They're not dead, but there's no communication, there's no connection, not even a spiritual connection I feel at all. Just an emptiness and a void, which comes, after grieving for years over people that don't love you. It just becomes like a whisper in the wind, just a state of nothingness. But I found myself a few days ago looking at my daughter's Facebook profile, my eldest daughter, Crystal. And the reason for that was she put a story up from her former business page, and as a response about the recent terrorist attack, because we are all Jews after all, and it is deeply wounding to see fellow Jews and other people of other faiths as well being slaughtered like that at a party, enjoying your best life. It's a particular venal thing to do. Anyway, she put this comment up. It was actually about, that the government had turned a blind eye to the rise in anti-Semitism and hadn't put in, hadn't done anything really to protect us, which is an evil beyond worlds too. But, another symptomology of the COVID epoch, actually. It's part of the grand depopulation control, and it always ends up being aimed at the Jews first, people of earth. Why that is, I'll never understand, really, but it's an old trope. Anyway, she wrote, someone else had written something, and she posted it in support. And I only saw it very quickly, and without even thinking, I put a love heart, because it was up on her Instagram story. And immediately it was shut down and I was blocked, and I was like, right, yeah, perhaps I shouldn't have put a comment, when it wasn't a comment, but it was just a love heart, because she doesn't want anything to do with me, and she would have seen that as some form of attack or Mummy trying to get in with her again. And she just would have thought it was pathetic, actually, a weakness on my part. But it was just done, instinctively, because bottom line, I'm still a Jew and I'm still her mother. So I had a look at her Facebook page, and she has a photo up that Jared had made for her from he makes the most beautiful selfies and dresses people up, all done by AI and whatever fantasy they want to be, in this case they were all I think they were made to look like fairies, So she had a white frame, the photo on the left side of her friends in England. On the left was Sandra, in the middle was Crystal, and on the right is Sandra's husband, David. And it's not jealousy that fueled it so much, but it was just such a shock that I've been so dehumanised and shut off, as though I don't exist at all, that I never mattered, that I was never her mother. And all the viciousness that she did to me, when I had my surgeries, both surgeries, they were both vicious, both my daughters. And it just all welled up, like a fucking volcano inside of me. And then I had to look at this photos of this couple who are her adopted parents, because they took her in when she was living in England and under constant attack in England and homeless and couldn't get accommodation. They took her in and she lived with them for a year. And I thanked them, because she had very limited funds and no one to look after her, and she wouldn't have wanted me to come over there even if I had the money. I did consider it at one stage when I deemed her to be in real danger. But anyway, so they're her parents now, she has this photo up, and it cut me like I was slashed with multiple fucking razor blades. Because they're good people, don't get me wrong, they're good people. And they've been good to her, and it's good that she has them in her life. I'm rationalising this logically, but emotionally I was just so distraught, And then I thought about it, and I thought, there's a kind of evil attached to that too, the way I've been treated so abominably. And that man, the man in the photo, is on my Instagram, watching everything I do, when I post my jewellery or my little writings or musings, or when I post my dreams. I thought they're all feeding off me like verminous fucking psychic vampires. Not one of them has my back, my front or my sides. Not one of them has any genuine care towards me, including this couple in England. I don't know them, they're strangers, taking over my daughter for their fucking vampiric cult, like fucking vampires. And somewhere along the way, both my daughters were turned against me. Jasmine was turned against me by a young friend I had when we were living in Waterford West, and then later on by a Serbian family that looked down on me because I was too mentally unwell at the time and it didn't work. They thought me lazy, and they decided I was a terrible mother based on what, actually? Struggling to survive alone with two little girls, send their kids over to my home to eat all our food and didn't once contribute, but then condescended at me viciously. Users and abusers, that family were. And they worm-tongued my little Jasmine against me too. It's predatory and it's fucking perverted. But this is the price I pay now, alone in my garden. All the worm-tonguing and the savagery of people who, what did they have against me actually? What did I ever do to them? Not one solitary fucking thing. Anyway, so that couple in England, he's a famous actor, but he's actually a recovered heroin addict. So we know what addicts can be like, don't we? They can be very, very mercenary and ruthless. And I know this because I helped protect and practically still finish off raising one of my former friend's daughters who was on the methadone program and struggling with her serious addictions and serious trauma issues from having been kidnapped as a 14-year-old girl by a serial killer. So I poured a lot of energy into that young woman to keep her alive and protect her from drug deals gone bad and psychotic drug-fucked boyfriends gone bad. So I thought, it's kind of interesting that my daughter's adopted by quite a famous actor, actually. And as I say, he's been a very kind father to her, but also a man that was broken by his addiction and somehow managed to have a loving wife and a loving family and get his shit together. But there's a lot to be said about that. But to turn my daughter against me, to be hateful and vicious, that's unforgivable, and that's on them. So last night I cut out everybody that is loosely connected via my daughter and everyone else that's connected to me, because I thought I'm keeping all these COVIDian spike conduits, attachments to people that ultimately were false and predatory and cruel, and I'm better off on my own. I really am, people of Earth. And I'm conscious that some of them will be coming to my YouTube videos because they get some kind of sexual frisson or schadenfreude from it. That's how rotten and evil they are. But I don't know how to block them on YouTube because, don't have their list of names and what have you. So I'm telling you, from my sacred space garden to yours, should never have fucked with the Tanya when she came in clean and clear and loving and kind. There were a few people from that, scene that I blocked that I did not completely happily about because they were good, kind, loving people to me. But they were blocked because they all gossip and they all mix together and they all feed each other's viciousness. So wittingly or unwittingly, because of their sweetness and kindness, they're easily manipulated. So I'm sorry if you're one of those people coming to my channel, but you might understand why I had to cut that connection between us as well. Most of you I never see in real life anyway, and it's just a one-dimensional connectivity via the internet. And I'm sorry, but real friends are present with you in 3D reality and are proud and happy to spend time with you and go out together and talk and laugh and pray and play and are there. So all the people that have demonstrated that they're not actually there with, for, standing by me through no fault of your own, people are busy and they have their own activated traumas and families and close friends and lovers to support. But if you're not there in my life, what game are you playing trying to maintain connectivity to me on the internet? So last night, that was all. It's all been cut as best as I can manage, given I don't know how to block on YouTube. So the remnant of you that come to my YouTube channel are enjoying the stories because you have no emotional connectivity to me or no history with me, and it's a bit more of a pure offering that way, because no one gets hurt, no one cares either way, and we can just get on with the business of living our best lives and reading our stories. Sometimes there's teaching moments too for some of you that come to my channel. Right, on we go. In the killing there was no need to make more pain, divesting a mother of her child, or a child of her mother, which, if you have real love connections between mother and daughter, no bastard could have ever have come between that. So there is that. Briaka. Ermid reached for her hand. Do you need me to tell you not to fight any more if it sickens you? No, it's obvious. I was coming to find you, to tell you that I was going to give my shield and blade to Kunomar, because Valerius does not yet command enough support amongst the war host. Then I saw the sun pass off the temple doors and remembered a promise. She opened her hand. Kuno Belin's ring lay on it, which had been his first gift. The gold did not spark with any particular life, but lay still and quiet on her palm in the evening light. It was heavy with a man's weight. On the flat surface was a hound raising its muzzle to greet the sun. Briaka pressed it into the calloused flesh of her thumb and watched the hound mark grow white and then red. Watching the colours fade, she said, Kunomar has spent years yearning to be the warrior with the eyes and heart of a dreamer, trying to build himself to be that. I am his mother. I wanted him to succeed. As I wanted both my daughters and my lovers and friends to succeed, but not by damaging me, people of Earth. That's not success, that's sadism. Until today, I believed it possible. Gently, Ermid said, your son is exceptional and an honour to both of his parents, but no follower of the she-bear has the mind and heart of a dreamer, nor will they ever. Their hearts are given an oath to the bear, which is a great thing and enough. Kunama will learn to celebrate that, and it will make him the stronger. There was such calm in the knowing of that, and having a half-met thought confirmed. Briaka tried the ring on her fingers. It was too big for any except her thumb. She let it hang there loosely, a spark of honeyed warmth in the light, and wondered why it was so difficult to speak. She waited for Ermid to fill the silence which lengthened unfilled. In time when waiting was harder than speaking, Briaka said, "Valerius then, it has always been him. He began as a warrior, but the dreamer is as strong in him now, if not stronger. I knew it when he came back to us, only that I did not know how to disappoint Kunamar." I'm smiling because it's a little bow that's up there chewing all the seagrass mat now. A small stifled cough or a laugh or perhaps the beginnings of weeping reached her across the short space. Briaka raised her eyes at last from the ring. Ermid was staring at her, blinking. A wide wash of feeling crossed her face that was surprise and laughter and exasperation all together. The dreamer made a tent of her fingers, pressing the tips together, and brought herself by some effort to quiet. Briaka, I loved your brother when he was born. He was an exceptional child. I grieved for his loss and grieved more when we found he was alive and had lost his soul to the legions. I celebrated and could love him again now that he is Valerius, but rides amongst us. But know this, your brother is a dreamer and has been from the day of his birth. Spirit gifted me my nickname for Pal Talk, Psychedelic Dreamer. I sat there in front of my computer and I said, what name shall I call myself? I don't know what to call myself. And I just sat there quietly and there was this moment of clarity and I literally heard a voice yell out, Psychedelic Dreamer, that's who you are. Without doing drugs or psychedelics, you understand. Could just as easily be called Technicolor Dreamer, but psyche, psychedelic is more apt, don't you think? And the kinds of monsters that would question me on reporting on my dreams, confront me, try and control and debase me, are all gone now. I will not be controlled or debased on my own Facebook profile or YouTube or Instagram. As they like to say in Australia, yous can all fuck off. Access denied. Papa Legba demands that I maintain my strength and my integrity and my honour. Deny access to those who sit and perch like squalid tides and gloat over my struggles and suffering. Vermin. Verminous. And if need be, I'll shut down my YouTube channel as well, but there's some real little pearls of wisdom in amongst it. I reviewed a video back from May 2024 when I had that very unusual spiritual encounter with the 3 Aboriginal women just before going to a gig for Alter Egos at the Koala Tavern the first time, to which I had been personally invited. So no idea what that was about, since that man had no real good intentions towards me, but wow, it was a very spiritual evening, and I was invited, but I was also right place, right time to see that confrontation between the mother and the 2 daughters, and it was a profound healing for one of the daughters and myself, actually. A soul recognition, a profound healing. So for that reason alone, that was an evening out that proved to be very spiritual and potent indeed. If he had remained as Ban and had never been taken, he would be elder of Mona when his father is gone. It was for this he was conceived and raised, and he showed all the promise of its fulfillment as a child. Briaka said, "But he's a warrior. You've seen him fight. He shines in the way Caradoc did, in the way Sigfa still does, or brighter than either. He shines as you do, in fact, and for that we must be grateful that the gods see further than the plans of the elders." Ban would have been an exceptional dreamer, but he would not have known enough to destroy the 9th, or perhaps to help us destroy the remainder of Paulinus's legions. Excuse me. The gods have shaped him for the need of his time, as they have a tendency to do, people of Earth. Only if you walk with them, though, and have built that relationship and that kind of an understanding. I don't presume to understand the will of God, really. It makes no sense sometimes, but you know when some things are brought into your life and the power behind it, the power and the poignancy. Been bitten by ants on my toes, which is most unpleasant. The gods have shaped him for the need of his time. Very few men could have taken up the burdens he has done and come through them with heart and soul intact. He is a remarkable man, and he fights as a remarkable warrior. But he is a dreamer first and a warrior second, and he will never lead the greater mass of the Iceni into battle. There was relief in that too, if only for Valerius's sake. Who then? Briarca said. Who else is left? Sigfa has never shown any facility for dreaming, and Dubornos is too damaged. Ardakos is of the she-bear, but if you're right about them, then he can never be. Briarca. Ermid was not smiling now, nor close to laughter. She leaned forward and put both palms flat on the ground on either side of the sunlight. Her face was luminous in the old light. Listen to me. Think. Who was made warrior of Mona younger than any yet? Who did the elder grandmother lead through the long nights after the old woman was dead? Who carries the wildfire that can weld together green youths with no battle experience and carry them so that they come through the fight alive? Who has this morning spoken with the dead in a grave mound, and before that in the caves of the western mountains, and before that on her long nights? Who has been pushed beyond endurance and should be left to live in peace, but that we need you to lead us, and we need you healed? Think. The sunhound had said the same, and Briarca had not thought. She could not think now. Denial's a long river in Africa sometimes. Realising the enormity of your destiny and not being willing to cloak yourself in it because fear, insecurity, lack of love and support, knowing that no matter what, no matter who, you're in this life alone and there's only two beings you can trust. Yourself and God, and even whom you argue with at times. Little Kermie, you're such a good boy. The ring dazzled her. She covered it with her hand and looked up. Ermid's gaze was a slant of sun across her face. Briarca looked away at the earth of the wall. Ermid said, "If it's too much, if you can't do it, we can still ask your brother." Ouch. No, it's not that. I can do it. I want to do it. I just need time to think. Not only to think, she needed time simply to listen to the thronging ghosts that came to her then. The elder grandmother was first, saying again, more gently, her words of the long nights. The blood of the ancestors runs in your line, else you would not dream as you do. And there again, decades later, standing in the corner of Briarca's workshop, directing her in the making of heron spears that only a dreamer smith should make. And here now, in the shifting space of the grave mound, saying, "If we had named you Dreamer early, would you have made of yourself the warrior that you are?" The ancestor dreamer followed and made the same offer as before, redolent now with other meaning. I promise you nothing, only that I will be with you. The air crackled with dry, caustic laughter. Then her father was there, Iburovic, solid in the bulwark of his smithy, making her a blade with a serpent spear on the pommel, and matching against her in play fight with the ancestor blade of his lineage, which bore the feeding she bare. He was real to her now, in Cunobelin's grave mound, as he had not been when his blade had been lifted to moonlight from the dark of Briga's altar. She felt the touch of his smile. We sent your blade to Mona with a warrior of the Koratani, she said. I'm sorry. Don't be. I asked for it. There are things yet to be done with it. For now, enough that you know who you are. He was everything the Sunhound was not. An open, clear, straightforward man, shining in his honesty. She loved him, and he was dead. The dead came less distinctly after Iburovic, or she was less able to see them. Macha came to her, and Gunovic, and Morok, and a dozen other elder dreamers of Mona, each one less tangible than the last. In time, there was only sunlight, and Ermid, living dreamer to the Boadicea, who was solid and real, and sat very still, as if breathing might break something too fragile to risk with a breath. Briaka said, Why did you not tell me before? In the beginning I thought you knew. How could you not when all your life has pointed to this? Later, when it was clear that you didn't. Ermid looked away for the first time and back again. I love you. I would not burden you with more than you can bear. And now? Now you know who you are, and the choice is still yours. You don't have to take this if you don't want it. The Boadicea leads to victory because she is that victory, not because she has been cajoled into leadership, however benignly. Benignly? Briaka pressed her palms to her face. The ancestor had been last of the ancient dead to leave. In the aftershine of her parting, a war spear cracked twice over and became crooked. The two-headed serpents of its haft writhed out and wove over it, staring to past and to future. Briga's sign, before it was ever hers, god of war, bringer of life and death, hope and loss, holder of past and present, and all that stands outside time. A single unchallenged God voice said, Boadicea. Ermid? Briaka reached out blindly. Long, lean fingers caught her own and held them, offering strength and an anchor in the present. Briaka leaned back, and, as they had done in childhood, they lifted each other to standing. The patch of sunlight lay between them. They came together awkwardly as strangers, afraid of what they might find. Briaka tilted her head to the shoulder that was offered. Eamid kissed the place on her crown where the sunhound had placed his hand. The feeling now was all of heat passing down into the earth beneath their feet. "You're back," Eamid said. "Welcome." Her voice was something to revel in, to enter and never leave. "I am back. And I do want to lead the war host. I always did. It was only that I thought I wasn't fit. You are fit now. The warriors will see it, I promise you, down to the greenest of untested youths." Briaka eased herself free. She stooped to pick up her knife. "It still may be too late. I left the field of battle early. If the warriors of the war host think I'm lost and have already accepted Valerius or Kunamar, we can't undo what's done. Would you come down with me to see?" And thus concludes chapter 29 of Boadicea, Dreaming the Serpent Spear. And blessed be to all who come to this channel, friend or foe, it matters not. You might glean something out of it. I certainly take pleasure in reading out loud and expressing my lived experiences and my truth, painful though they often are. And sometimes you just need to bear witness and go with the flow and move in and out of the space-time continuum and be free in another paradigm. Disrespectful by the gods. But anyway, Davidson, can still feel him around actually, a little, not as strongly as before, but about 3 or 4 feet behind me. I might have a look behind me. What is actually I'm feeling so strongly? Only the tree and the bromeliad, so you know. But no, that presence is unmistakable. He also had a very distinct scent, the way he smelled it. I didn't smell him this time, but sometimes I smell him. And it's astonishing that I can, on occasion, hear him and communicate with him. I don't make it easy for him because he really was evil, so evil that I had to bind him with other significant enemies at that time. At the bottom of Logan River, which is what I meant with by that binding would have been released upon his death. But that was to keep me and my children safe, and it worked up to a point. There is no safety here on planet Earth for us women. That's been demonstrated over and over again. Not even safe to fall in love or go dancing or hold your tree sacred. So fuck it all. You kind of have to laugh. It all comes down to fuck it all and throw it in the fuck it bucket and just enjoy what's left of my life, people of Earth. And Davidson's right. It will all be okay. I'll find real loves one day, probably in the next dimension, and I'm okay with that too. So, bye for now. Blessed be. Shalom. Peace out.